In today's show, the Blazers go into L.A. and shoot bricks against the Clippers. Welcome to Locked On Blazers. Let's get into it.
You are Locked On Trailblazers, your daily Portland Trailblazers podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
What's up, world? It's past first point guard and Trailblazers reporter Mike Richmond. You listen to another episode of Locked On Blazers, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, available wherever you get podcasts and also on YouTube. Thanks for making this show your first listen, coming at you each and every weekday, Monday through Friday. So make it a part of your daily routine. Make it your first listen. Tell your friends to do the same. It's Locked On Blazers, your team every day. In today's show, we're talking the Blazers' loss to the Clippers in L.A. They went into a dome and couldn't make anything. Hung in the game despite shooting a just outrageous number of bricks, but it is what it is. We will get into that game, do our fastest recap in the West. Talk a little Shaedon Sharpe. He has struggled to begin the season. We're 3 days in. There's 3 games in. There's 79 left, but Sharpe is undeniably struggling, and we're going to talk a little bit about it. And then I want to talk about counterpunches. The Blazers, so far, we've kind of seen their identity. We know who they are and what they are going to be, but I want to talk a little about, in light of this game, the ability to like, how many counterpunches they can really throw. How many alternatives do they really have on nights when it is not necessarily going their way and they want to change things up? Let's do what we do, though. Fastest recap in the West. Let's get into it. Blazers down 11 after 1, 34-23. A tradition unlike any other. We got a first quarter challenge by the Portland Trailblazers head coach. You thought that dude was gone, but guess what? You can't kill a legend. They're on forever. Thiago Splitter challenges a possession, the ball out of bounds off the Clippers. It was awarded to the Blazers, or it was awarded to the Clippers, but it was clearly off the Clippers. He challenges it, but there's 2.7 seconds left on the shot clock. There's just no... Thiago wins the challenge, right? There is no value. There's almost nothing to be gained from this, because even if you do win it, right? Even if you do win it and you keep your challenge, when you do challenge later in the game, you're forced to use a timeout. So you just automatically burn a timeout. Splitter didn't really take timeouts in this game, so it didn't matter. But you just can't challenge a first quarter possession call, but the Blazers do, because it's just, I guess it's what they do. I guess it's an organizational plan. They're down 11 after 1. They start small to open the second quarter. They go with that small ball look with Matisse Thybulle in there, and they just go nuts. That changed the game for them. They scored 37 points in the second quarter. Clippers come out there with Chris Paul, who's 40 years old. You know, that's pretty old to be a 6-foot point guard in the league. And that group, that second unit with Chris Paul and Chris Dunn and Brook Lopez and John Collins, they didn't have anything for the Blazers' small ball athletes. And the Blazers shot well. They started making shots after really struggling. And then even after the first sub, the Blazers bring Blake Wesley in, and I thought he was just so chaotic. I mean that as a compliment. I thought he was just pure chaos when he came in. Comes in midway through the second quarter and just just fantastic chaos. 2 steals, one in the backcourt, stripping James Harden and getting an and one bucket. Another one after the Blazers turn the ball over, he tracks back and intercepts a James Harden outlet pass. He draws an offensive foul, fighting over the top of the screen, forces another turnover with pressure in the backcourt, commits an offensive foul with a ghost screen, but a little too physical ghosting, and pushes somebody with 2 hands. Like, he was everywhere. Wesley really gave them a spark. He's a nice change of pace. Like, he really struggles on offense, and that's just sort of a theme for the whole roster. But I think there's something to the sort of Wesley experience because he just goes so undeniably hard. I think ideally, because even with Blake's sort of special version of chaos, I think ideally he wouldn't be an every night player. But because he goes so hard, he's like, when you saw him, you just know what you're going to get, because he's just going to go nuts. He just plays so chaotically. And I thought that second quarter he provided a huge spark for him. It's hard to duplicate that level of energy, but you just know that he is going to really, really, really compete out there. During that stretch to open the quarter, and then when Blake Wesley checked in, the Blazers ripped off a 23-2 run in the second quarter. 23-2 run. All of a sudden, from down 11. Entering the first, or at the end of the first, they're up 55-44 with about 3 minutes left in the in the second quarter. The Clippers closed pretty well to end the half, and the Blazers go up only 5 in halftime, 60-55. Another small sort of note in the sort of Tiago Splitter, getting to know Tiago Splitter experience. Matisse Thybulle picked up 3 fouls in the first half, and he didn't come out of the game when he picked up that third foul, and then he came back in the game with 3 fouls. I love that from Splitter. What does it matter if Tease, who's not going to play more than 20-ish minutes, gets in foul trouble? You can put him back in with 3 fouls in the first half. It truly does not matter for role players. Then of course Tease picks up a 4th foul. So respect for putting him back in the game. Maybe disrespect for picking up a 4th first half foul. Matisse Thybulle did not foul out. I'll have you know he played his normal minutes. He played 15 minutes and he did not foul out. It's you just don't have to worry about it with low minute guys, and I really like that from Splitter. He totally ignored that. Blazers up 5 at halftime. Third quarter, Clippers just kind of just flip things around. Blazers can't make any shots. They shoot under 30% from 3 in the quarter. They really struggle. They go into the fourth quarter down 5, 87-82, and never really threaten in the fourth quarter. Clippers roll 114-107. That's your fastest recap in the West. Yeah, this was just a game about bricks. Like that's kind of what it was. The Blazers shoot 11 of 41 from 3. That's 27%. I don't mind the 41. I really don't mind the 41 too much. They're not creating a ton of good looks at the rim. You want to score in transition, but in the half court they were having trouble scoring. I think maybe some of those threes that are maybe a little rushed, and there's some late in the game maybe that you wouldn't put up in a normal game. So like they've taken in the high 30s. You need to shoot threes in the modern NBA. The Blazers are going to have to put them up. They just need guys to make more. I thought Denny Avdia was good. He continues to be the Blazers' best player. Drew Holiday continues to be a seamless fit into this group. His ability to make plays is really valuable. He finishes with 21, 6, and 7. That's 6 rebounds, 7 assists. Denny continues to hoop, 23. Jeremy Grant, very comfortable in that 6-man role. In his 29 minutes off the bench, he finishes with 17 on 4 of 10 shooting. In the classic Jeremy Grant fashion, 0 assists, 2 rebounds. He's not going to do those things. But the scoring just didn't exist last year, and that's back. Got himself to the free throw line. It's just everybody else. Denny Avdia, 3 of 7 from 3. That's a really good shooting night. Drew Holiday, 3 of 8 from 3. It's a totally normal, fine shooting night. Jeremy Grant, 2 of 5 from 3. It's a good shooting night. Everybody else, so that's that right there, if you're scoring at home, is 8 of 15 from 3. Everyone else goes 3 of 26. I mean, it's not that simple, right? Because I thought, I'll talk about some other stuff later in the show, but at the end of this game, when the Clippers, the Blazers, I said they didn't really threaten in the fourth. It's not like they got blown out. They just were like, okay, you're down 8. Okay, you're down 6. Okay, you're down 10. Can you make a move? It's like, they're vaguely in the game down 9, but it's like they're down 9 with 4 minutes left, right? Could they outscore the Clippers by 10 over the final 4 minutes? Absolutely. But could they outscore the Clippers by 10 over the final 4 minutes if the Clippers score a 12th point? Probably not, right? They just cannot score. They just cannot score. And they did this while dominating the possession game. This is the math. The Blazers got the math they wanted. They took 12 more field goal attempts and 19 more free throws. That's 31 extra shooting possessions. The Blazers took 34 free throws to the Clippers 15. The Blazers took 92 field goal attempts to the Clippers 80. The Clippers turned the ball over 24 times, and Portland just couldn't score. They dominate the possession game, right? They absolutely. If you give yourself 31 extra shooting possessions, I'm talking field goal attempts and free throw attempts, but even just 12 more shots. 12 more shot attempts should give you a pretty good chance. But 12 more shot attempts and 19 extra free throw attempts, that's the math. They did. That's how they want to play. You force a bunch of turnovers. You get to the free throw line. You get offensive rebounds. The Blazers finished with 16 for just 7 offensive boards on the other side for the Clippers. Clippers aren't a heavy crash team, and the Blazers are a heavy crash team. You get offensive rebounds. The Blazers had 18 offensive boards. you get offensive rebounds, you get to the free throw line, and you get more shots than they do because offensive boards, obviously, because you're gonna miss some shots, and you lose. The math's the math. I don't even think they played poorly in this game. They just couldn't make anything. They shot under 40% from the field, under 27% from three. This is in some ways kind of their challenge that we thought they might face this year. They're a good and competitive defensive team, and I thought they were good and competitive tonight. I don't think defense was an issue for them. But unlike game 1 in Minnesota, where it was like, how are you going to score in the final 2 minutes? This game was, how are you going to score in the first 48 minutes? How at any point are you going to score in this game? This monster second quarter kind of covers up that, like, during that stretch where the Clippers were really turning the ball over, Blazers getting some live ball turnovers. You make your shots in that stretch, and I thought they played really well for that 12-minute stretch, and I thought their small ball really flummoxed LA in the first half. There wasn't as much flummoxing in the second half. We'll talk about that to close the show. But I also want to talk about Shaedon Sharpe. I haven't mentioned him. He scored 19 points. He took 24 shots to do so. He had 6 turnovers to go with 1 assist. He is struggling this year. He is. We're 3 games into this thing. I don't want to overreact, but it would be unfair to not react at all. Let's talk about Shaedon Sharpe. Join me in the second segment. First, though, let's talk Monarch money. Let's be honest. Most of us can't even name all of our financial accounts, let alone what they're worth between 401ks, savings, and investments. It's easy to lose track, and that can mean leaving money on the table. That's why there's Monarch, the all-in-one finance tool that brings your entire financial life together in one clean, easy-to-use interface on your laptop or on your phone. It's going to help you organize your accounts, track your spending, and get a better handle on your investments without having to touch a spreadsheet. Plus, if you share finances with anyone, a partner, a spouse, a parental unit of some variety, you can see everything quickly. You can have shared goals, and you can make better financial decisions together. Don't let financial opportunities slip through the cracks. Use the code LOCKEDONNBA at monarch.com for 50% off your first year. That's monarch.com, and the code is LOCKEDONNBA for half off your first year. Today's program also brought to you by the good folks over at Game Time. Here's what they're doing. They're helping you buy last-minute tickets, because if you're an NBA fan, there's nothing like being in the arena, but buying tickets can be a real hassle between waiting in queues, surprise fees, where the prices jump right before checkout. It can be easy to get frustrated when all you want to do is get in the building and cheer on your favorite team and cheer on the fighting pinwheels. That's where Game Time comes in. It's the app that helps you navigate and gives you the advantage, navigate the challenges, removes them, in fact, and gives you all the advantages. It's your ultimate life hack for scoring amazing tickets to NBA games. Fast, easy, and stress-free. So you can find NBA tickets for under $25. Seats also, like, you can find them quickly. The app is super easy to use. Say you want to, go to tomorrow's game at the building formerly known as Staples Center, Crypto.com Arena. Search Blazers Lakers in LA. Pull it up really quick. Pull it up on your phone. You will see a map of the arena. You will see all the prices. What you see is what you pay. Super clean, super easy, and it takes the guesswork out of buying tickets. So why don't you do just that with Game Time? Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use the code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. That's code LOCKEDONNBA, LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off. Swipe, tap, ticket, go. All right, let's talk Shaedon Sharpe. He's struggling this year. He is. But let's start up top here with the obvious. He's been way more competitive on defense. I thought the first game against Minnesota, he was really, really good, really attentive and really good. I thought he was solid and just like fits into the plan of how they want to play against the Warriors. Tonight against the Clippers, they've got 2 really good ISO scorers in James Harden and Kawhi Leonard. And down the stretch to end the game, they chased the matchup. They hunted Shaedon Sharpe. They brought Chris Dunn into the mix. They let him set a screen up high for the ball handler, either James Harden or at the end of the game, Kawhi Leonard several times. They brought him into the dance, and those guys got what they wanted, right? I thought the only one that was bad defense was Harden. He let Harden, like he what they call weaking him is sending him to his weak hand, right? He let him go right, but he let him go right with so little resistance that James got quickly, he said, okay, you want me to go right? I'm going happy to, and just straight line drive to the rim. That forces help. If you force help, you're going to give up buckets. And that's what happened. And the Clippers got an easy one inside. Right? It was like you want to send him to his weak hand, but you want to send him to his weak hand and maybe not a straight line drive, like a little bit more resistance than that. I thought Kawhi isolated Shaedon Sharpe a couple times, and one of them was a 15-foot jumper, fade away, getting to back, moving to his left. But that's a comfort shot for Kawhi, and it's a shot he wanted. And you get a weaker defender, and you say, okay, I'm gonna go get it. And he went and got a shot that he was comfortable getting. Right, that's not an easy shot for most. It's an easy shot for Kawhi, and that's a comfort shot for him. I don't think that was necessarily terrible defense. I think it was fine. But it's just Kawhi was not bothered by that. Right. But prior to this game, prior to even the fourth quarter of this game, I would say Shaedon Sharpe had been good on defense even this year, a positive. I think he's been good there. He's been really competitive. It's clear he is understands the word from the coaching staff. Obviously the word from the coaching staff, even that is a little bit loaded for the Portland Trailblazers these days. But they talk to him. They Chauncey Billups challenged him last year to be better on defense. Obviously, that's a point of emphasis for him, and it's their whole identity is they're going to be tough on defense. And Sharpe has bought into that. The problem is his value is scoring. Even if he's going to be he's been, even if he's been a positive on defense, he's still the weak link. They're still hunting him, and even that aside, even if he does well and stands up in those ISO situations, the value he brings to the team is not on that end. That's he's not Toumani Camara, right? He's not saying, okay, well, what I'm going to do for this game is lock it down on defense. And Toumani didn't have a very good offensive game. The Blazers probably need more from him if they're going to be competitive on offense for sure. But Shea's value comes from scoring. That's who he is. That's why he took 24 shots. That's why his usage is as high as it's ever been. They need him to score. They need him to score. And he's just not making anything. He's 5 of 24 on three-pointers to begin the season. 5 of 24 shooting bricks. But he hasn't been a good three-point shooter during his career. So while that is not, that's just he's not going to be able to hang at that. He's going to get better. Those numbers are going to go up slightly, right? If he were just shooting those bricks, it'd be yeah, you know what? It's 3 games. He hasn't been a good three-point shooter yet in the NBA. Maybe he'll get there, but he's not there yet, right? That's still a direction he needs to head to, right? But he's been a really good scorer inside the arc. In fact, last year he was a very good scorer at the rim, and this year he's 12 of 35 on two-pointers. He's 7 of 19 at the rim through 3 games. Yuck. Including these are 2s and 3s mixed together, but he's 5 of 22 on pull-up jumpers. His job in the offense is to dribble into his shot because so few guys can. They need him. They need him, right? They need him to play the way he plays. They need him to take pull-up jumpers, break his man off the dribble, and get into mid-rangers. They need him to drive to the rim. I think 2 things here. One is there is something to the idea that putting in so much effort on defense changes what you're able to do on offense. Sure, I think that's true. I don't want to say that that's the reason, though, because I don't think it is. I think he's just struggling, and we're through 3 games. If there is a balance he needs to strike, sure, find it, right? That's the job with him and the coaching staff. It's maybe Shaedon's not a press guy. He never presses. You need him. He'll pick up and he'll defend, but he's going to do that back at 40 feet, not at 75, not at 80, right? He's never going to be a press guy. He's not a hound you when you catch it, but he's been someone who has been part of this high pickup points. Maybe you save him a little bit and just have him get back and do that. But so there's some give and take there, right? You don't want him to say, because of Shaedon Sharpe's history as a defender, you're not hey, maybe take a little take a little break on that end, big dog. Like that's not acceptable, right? They still need him to defend and be part of it. Have your strengths be strong. This team's defense is going to be their strength. But there's a balance to strike there with the coaching staff. That's sort of the magic here. Is like if he is, because typically when guys have a heavy load on offense, they just don't have enough energy. You don't have unlimited stores of energy. You have to like figure out where to best utilize it. And perhaps Sharpe is giving too much on that end, and it's sapping his jumper a little bit, right? It's just taking off. Like he can't make off the dribble jumpers, 5 of 22. He can't make shots at the rim, 7 of 19. Maybe that's part of it, right? And so they'll have to find that balance. But I think the simplest thing, and this is kind of boring, is play better. That's the best adjustment you can make is play better. He just has to make some shots. He has to make some layups. I think, Clippers are a really good defensive team. They're a good team. They're old, but they're a good basketball team. It's like they might not be a good basketball team in May, but I think they're going to be a good basketball team, through February. They're just talented, and they've got a lot of players, and they're smart. And usually, older teams are smarter and good defensive teams. And I thought like Brook Lopez got him a couple times. Maybe once he fouled him, but he got him a couple times. Nick Batum, a great chase down artist, chased down Shaedon Sharpe and blocked his a layup or a dunk attempt on the break. Like some of this is like. Maybe Sharpe finishes, more awareness, all those things. Some of this is like Brook Lopez is a good defensive player, an elite rim protector. Nick Batum is a great chase down shot blocker, he always has been. I think the simple adjustment here for Sharpe is to not reinvent anything. It's to play better, ball go in. I think the difference in the Blazers game against the Warriors and the Blazers game against the Clippers was largely ball go in. And against the Warriors, the ball went in and they looked awesome, unbeatable. And in this game against the Clippers, I thought they played pretty well and they couldn't make anything. But also they couldn't adjust much. I want to talk about that in the third segment. I don't mean that as a slight at Thiago Splitter as a coach. I mean that factually. There's just not many buttons to press. Let's talk about that to close the show. Join me in the third segment, won't ya? First, though, let's talk FanDuel, America's #1 sports book and the official sports betting partner of the NBA. The NBA is back. The National Basketball Association is here. No better place to get on the action than FanDuel. Even if you miss the start of the game or you want to ride the hot hand, FanDuel has live bets on everything from who will score next to fourth quarter comebacks to second quarter spreads to whatever you could imagine. You can live bet games on FanDuel. Plus, you can even combine your live bets in a same game parlay for a shot at an even bigger payout. Right now, FanDuel is giving new customers $300 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. So head to FanDuel.com and sign up today and play your game with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. Still a Bass first point guard. I'm still Mike Richmond. You're still listening to Locked On Blazers. So, the Blazers are giving Younghan Sen some minutes, right? And I'm in favor of trying to figure out how to get him some developmental minutes. The way he's going to get better is playing. But he's not good right now. And it's very clear that they don't view him as playable in meaningful time. They are bringing him in as the first sub at the 7-minute mark, 5 minutes into the game. They're playing him between 3 and 5 minute stretch, and they're pulling him, and then he's not playing. Came back second time in game 1, but with Splitter at the helm, he played garbage time, and he was only going to play 3 minutes, and tonight he played 4 minutes, right? Like that's his stretch. So when you get to the second half of these games, why I start with Hansen, is that the Blazers' options are to play Donovan Clingan, good defensive player, pretty limited on offense, doesn't really take two-pointers unless they're putbacks. Did have a lob dunk tonight, though. Has become a guy who shoots a lot of threes, which I like, but he's not adding a lot of variety, and he's certainly not adding any pick-and-roll punch to your game at all. It's pretty limited there. So it's play Donovan Clingan, who has some limitations on offense. Good defensive player, Blazers are going to be good on defense, yada, yada, yada. Or go small in a variety of ways. And some of those small ball looks are awesome. They're really fun. When they put Matisse Thybulle in the game, along with Drew Holiday and Tumani Kamara, Denny Avdia, and Jeremy Grant. That group defends, and they fly around, and they're long, and they're like, whew, they are challenging to deal with, right? Like that group, like the worst defender on the floor is probably Denny Avdia. That's awesome. Like that's really, really fun, right? Like that's a really fun defensive group. They play fast with that group. That look is special. But then like the next sub, okay, let's keep rotating. The next sub is still small. It's Blake Wesley and Chris Murray, and they're still playing a small ball. They're still playing a non-center, a bunch of wings, a bunch of defense, a bunch of speed, length, athleticism, right? Like, and some nights, like against the Warriors, who are on a second night of a back-to-back and are an old basketball team, and we're missing their best center in Al Horford. All due respect to Quentin Post, but you ain't got it like that, dog. They got walloped, right? They overwhelmed them. And so there are nights when, and I truly believe this, there are going to be nights all year long when the Blazers' athleticism, their pace, the fact that they're subbing a lot, quick, short shifts for folks, and they're giving, a variety of small ball looks, and they're just playing hard as hell, they're going to overwhelm some teams, right? They're going to overwhelm some teams. That's just the truth of it. But I mentioned in this particular game, that the Clippers figured it out a little bit because they struggled. They struggled in that first time the Blazers went to it. Started the second quarter. They've kind of given the courtesy minutes to Hansen. Now they're going to go small. They're going to put their best lineup out there probably. I probably think their best lineup still probably has to feature Klingon just because of rebounding. But that small ball look has been torturing fools. And they put that group out there to start the second quarter, and it tortures the second unit for the Clips. They got no hope. Chris Dunn, Chris Paul, no hope. Too fast, too much Matisse, just like too many ways to pressure the ball, too many ways to push on the other end. They play fast and unselfish on offense, like fast within the half court, and they look opportunistic and take shots early in the clock, overwhelms them, right? Okay, well, we're not going to play the 40-year-old point guard the second time around. And we're also not going to go small. The idea by going small, right, is that you force the other team to match you, right? You say you have to play to our style. We are going to be so relentless with how we want to play that we're going to force you to play our style. Well, Ty Lue learned the trick. He said, I'm not going to go small. I'm going to go big. So he closes the game with James Harden and Kawhi Leonard, obviously, and Chris Dunn, who's a typical contributor. But instead of going to the Nicholas Batum at center looks, he goes big. Two traditional bigs. Ivica Zubac, who is a true five, and John Collins, who is the last of the true fours. They really just straight up played bigger, and that beat the Blazers. A couple times late in the fourth quarter, Zubac would get the ball in the post. It happened on back-to-back possessions. Blazers send a double team. I believe they call it white is their call if you're looking on the bench. White the post. So they send the double team in the post. Zubac knows it's coming. The first time, wrap around to Collins, bucket inside. Second time, it's a sideline out of bounds. They're fronting the post, usually front and double. That's a very typical basketball thing. So Drew Holiday's sitting on the front of the post. They're gonna make them throw over the top to Zoo, and Shaedon Sharpe's cheating. Right, he's gotten at the time Nicholas Batum is on the court before they've put Kawhi back in. But it's like they've, he's like, I'm not worried about this backside little action for Nicholas Batum, whatever. So as soon as the ball goes into Zubac, Shaedon Sharpe goes to help. It's natural play. Front, double the backside. That's like how, if you're going to play small, that's usually how you guard bigs. And Zubac knows the double team's coming, is patient, again finds a cutting John Collins, except on the backside when you double team, Jeremy Grant is splitting the difference. So it's one guy guarding two. He's halfway in between Batum and the cutting John Collins, except that splitting the difference when you're 24 feet from the rim at the three-point line, it allows you to kind of make some decisions. Splitting the difference when you're 9 feet from the rim in the paint, well, John Collins catches it and one, scores inside. Going big worked. And why I mention this is I like the Blazers small ball look. I think it's going to overwhelm teams this year because of their pace and their athleticism and the length that they can play while going small. But against teams that aren't bothered by it or find other spots, other ways to beat it, like the Clippers did, right? Like, okay, we'll just go big and we'll just isolate our best scorers up top and we're just not worried about it, right? There was a play late where they isolated Shaedon Sharpe and the Blazers sent 2 to the ball, and Kawhi Leonard just kind of ran away from the double team. He didn't let the double team come to him. He just ran away from it, went to his right hand, and scored on a little push shot runner inside. What other button did the Blazers have to press? It's not like they're like, okay, we'll try Hansen, we'll see if he works. He doesn't. He's not going to help you at this stage in his career, right? That's not going to work. Rob Williams is not cleared to play. Duop-Reith, he doesn't fit with his skill set, does not fit the style of defense they want to play because he neither protects the rim nor moves his feet well enough to play truly small and switchy. You could try it, but that's not going to be, I don't think that's the solution necessarily, but maybe worth pressing the button a couple times to make sure that it's not. I think Duop's had a couple okay blocks early in the season, but I think we've seen enough of him to know what he truly is. I like him, but it is what it is. So, I don't even fault Thiago Splitter for this. He just goes small another way, or you can go small another way, or you can try this other lineup where you go small another way. This is the roster. And I think this might be just the thing that happens to them this season. There are going to be times when being small and athletic, or having a non-center, I should say small is that's not what they are, because Jeremy Grant and Denny Avdia and Tumani are big, right? You're playing with length. But playing these non-center lineups is the button you have to press if Klingon is not your guy or you need more offense on the court. But if they solve that, there isn't another button to press. They can't play another shape. They don't have another center who's he's bad on defense, but he's a really good pick and roll player. They don't have, they just don't have another counterpunch. They have one button to press. They can press 3 versions of that same button, or they can play a traditional center and Donovan Klingon. That's what they got. Some nights it's going to pound teams into the ground, into submission, because it's just overwhelming. And some nights they are going to be the team that just can't find it. And I think offense might be a problem. But if Shaedon Sharpe ever makes shots, they're going to be a lot better. Okay, Blazers play the Lakers. You're listening to Monday's program. Blazers play the Lakers tonight. No Luka Doncic, no LeBron James. Lakers are also on a second night of a back-to-back, having just played Sacramento in Sacramento. The key for this one is that Austin Reeves is coming off a massive 50-point game, and I need you. This is just some emotional advice. I'm giving you some just a heads up. Austin Reeves might have the most favorable whistle in the history of the NBA. There might not be a player in my lifetime. Shout out to Corey Maggette. But might not be a player in my lifetime with a more favorable whistle than Austin Reeves. So protect your heart, because my man's going to shoot a lot of free throws tomorrow night. And then after that game, we will talk about it here on Locked On Blazers. Tell your friends about the podcast. I appreciate you listening. I'll talk to you soon.